Alrighty, guys, what's up? This is Oscar, aka Mr. Don Dale,
And this is Brian, aka Bianca.
and welcome to Dale Sin Límites podcast or Dale No Limits. First and foremost, before we start, we want to thank you once again for tuning in and appreciating every like, comment, positive feedback, and construction feedback. Obviously, we're in a different setting today because due to the weather, but we're going to pivot, right? These are our Saturday recordings, so we appreciate you tuning in and trusting us with episode 5 of the podcast. Before we start, though, definitely want to give a huge shout out to Electrolit, who sponsored the podcast for Body Arts Run Club. So, for those of you guys who may or may not know, I help co-lead a run club called Body Arts Run Club NYC chapter. So, by default, they sponsor the run club. So, by default, they're sponsoring the podcast. So, we want to thank you for the hydration that you're providing for us today. And before we start, we want to welcome this individual. Bianca's going to touch base on her momentarily. So this individual that we're going to bring to the podcast today is a friend that we have met more so around November. I met this individual particularly in the medal marathon celebration. So post marathon for 2025 New York City Marathon was my first marathon ever. Literally, I try my best to one run. That's like 5 days past the marathon, and I had so many cramps leading up to that day. I was like, you know what? Let me go to this 5K. Let me run. I turned back after not even 0.10 miles. Went back, went to the bar, met this individual. Nothing but congratulations. Nice welcoming. She was very friendly towards me, and since then we have been friends. We have been going into many different run clubs and also running together many miles. So I really appreciate this individual for one, giving me a hug and a nice welcoming and a nice celebration because I was literally feeling it post marathon. So I'm gonna let Bianca continue on with the introduction.
So how I met this person was at Paso Run Club. Shout out Paso. This person is not only a great pacer because she helped me pace at so many runs at Central Park. She is so sweet. She's very friendly, and I know she was one of the hosts of the Women's International Run. So without further ado, allow us welcome Sam.
Woo! Dale.
Hi, everybody.
There you go.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for having me.
appreciate you for coming and joining us on this not so great weather, but we're gonna pivot and make it work. So before we actually can start with the podcast, first and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself so the viewers can understand who you are as a person, and then we'll go from there.
Of course. My name is Samantha Nicte Ramirez, and I am a 27-year-old Mexican. I run, I teach, which is something that I share in common with these two, which is definitely, I think, has brought us closer. And also just the fact that we are runners and we are educators. Live in New York City for the past 5 years. And yeah, enjoy taking up space, especially for like women in movement. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Ooh, appreciate that. Appreciate that. So, first and foremost, Sam, you know that this podcast is all about learning each other's stories, your reason why. So we will love the reader to one get to know your reason for why you started to running. Like, give us a little bit of like when did you started to run? What is your reason why you still continue to run? Because running is a beautiful form of therapy, beautiful form of exercise, especially since we relate with the teaching realm. Like going after work for a run is so like therapeutic. So yeah, just give us a little bit more on your running journey thus far and your reason why.
Of course. I actually love this question. I feel like whenever people ask it to me, I always get really excited to share. And I also love hearing everyone else's whys on like why they run as well. Especially, after the long hours and regardless of your like job, what you do, right? It's getting out there and it's always like the hard part. But we do it because we love it. So a bit of why I started running. I started running because throughout I would say like middle school and high school, I was just a big nerd. Like I really only focused on school. Like that was literally like my chance of like getting out of Ocala, which is like the small town I grew up in. So I was like, I want to go to school somewhere different. I want to go to school away from this hometown. So I was like, just a big like nerd. Didn't really think about sports. Didn't really think about activeness movement really. But my sister, my brother were really big on like sports and like the sport world. And so my family didn't want me to be like just not active. They wanted me to be healthy, right? So my dad actually is the one who got me into running in middle school. And he did this by like he literally went and around our neighborhood and like drew like the 1 mile like mile marker, like the
Oof.
3 mile marker, and he made a whole like calendar like of like race, just like preparing me to like maybe like you run 5 miles like 1 week, 10 miles the next week, and I would just do it by myself or with him. And then me and him started signing up for like races together. He was training for half marathons. I was training for like 5Ks. And it was like a great time for me to just one be on my own after just like school. And also just get to spend time with my dad. Me and him like built a really strong relationship through running. And it gave me something to feel like proud about. So I just continued to run really just on my own. Even when I went to college away from home, I would always like run like a 5K here and there just to like again for like just my own mental reasons, just like decompress from like the workload of like wanting to get those straight A's and all that stuff. And yeah, it always make me think about family and like how my family is the ones who like really pushed me to like just move and be active. And then I never really took it very seriously. Though it was again just for like therapy, like you said, like therapeutic
Yeah.
reasons, kind of like your mental health, also just, to feel good. And then when I moved to New York City, that's when I found Rue Crew. We run Uptown, and they kind of really welcomed me in. I didn't really have any friends or any family when I first moved here, so it was very lonely. And I definitely wanted to feel connected to some kind of community, especially where I lived. So I started running with them, and they welcomed me in. And then, like, through every Monday night run, I found myself just getting better because I was being very consistent with it. And then I saw people in that running space who were like running marathons, running, training for their half marathons. And I was like, wow, I want to do that. That like sounds so like cool. And they were like so supportive of me doing that and started running Wednesdays with them as well. And all of a sudden, here I am, like 2 marathons later, many half marathons later, just many miles later, just really still, I feel like I never loved running more than I do right now, which is crazy. I feel like every single time it just keeps like growing as time passes. So that's my why, I guess.
Oof, we love to hear that. First and foremost, like you just mentioned, like once again, shout out to We Run Uptown.
Yes.
They run on Mondays, correct?
Monday nights, yes.
The location.
168th, Fort Washington Public House. Backdrop is there, vibes are there. It's a great time. Uptown.
All right, We Run Uptown. So thank you guys for one welcoming into that community. Like she mentioned, she just came to New York City 5 years ago. So I think the most like I love running because it brings people together. It makes like friends become long lasting friends and friendships grow out of it. So once again, we appreciate you, Rerun Uptown. The whole point about this podcast is one, giving awareness to more run clubs out there so people can, go in, just like Sam mentioned, very welcoming. So shout out to them. So you mentioned 2 marathons. So she has 2 marathons under her belt, part of the 1% club in the marathon
Yes.
journey. Talk to us about those journeys. Just for some context, she ran the New York City Marathon and she ran the all women's marathon, if I'm not mistaken, in Arizona, correct? So talk to us more about that. And what was your experience for both? Because I think running two separate marathons, one, like the experience is going to be different, the training is going to be different. So talk to us more about those marathons. And yeah.
Yeah, so the marathon journey has definitely been interesting. Quick pivot. How many marathons have you guys ran?
0.
Okay.
One marathon.
Okay.
To my belt.
All right. Just we got to get you on that wave.
This year.
Yes,
This year. This
Okay.
year.
Yeah, the marathon journey. I can't believe I'm even like saying the fact that I've ran 2 marathons already. Like that just sounds like funny to me. And hopefully the third one this year. But New York City was my first one, and it came as like a surprise because I applied for the lottery, the New York Roadrunners like lottery, and I got in through the lottery. Which is crazy. I heard it was like very like 4% of people get in through that way. So by the time I found out that I was gonna do New York City, I had already signed up to do the Every Woman's Marathon in Savannah, Georgia that year. And the reason I wanted to do it in Georgia was because I was born in Georgia, right? And so that was my plan. Then when I got into the lottery for New York City, I had to like, I was like, okay, that's like now two marathons. One in November, and then the other one was going to be in, actually, every women's was going to be in October, and then November was going to be New York City. And so I feel like that was a lot, and I got really nervous. So I decided to cancel the every woman's one and just like focus my training on New York City because I wanted my first to be New York City. It's a world major. Wanted to represent New York City. Also, it's just we run uptown. We're getting me there and getting me prepared to like to think about running a marathon. And so I applied to the Nike Moonshot program that year, and I got in. And shout out to them because I don't think I would have felt as prepared as I did the day of the marathon if it weren't for the training that Nike provided through Moonshot. Also, again, the people I met, like the coaches, everyone, it was just so helpful. And it got me right. So it was 16 weeks of training, and I was pretty consistent, and I'm really proud of myself for that. And I feel like I'm really this year trying to tap into that same training because I want to feel prepared for the marathon I'm thinking of doing this year. But New York City was a whole movie. New York City was phenomenal. It was amazing. My family came. That meant like the world to me. They came to New York City just to see me run my first marathon. My dad was like, still talks about it to this day. He's like, I tell everyone that my little daughter ran like all these like marathons that she's run all the time. Like he's so proud of me in the running space and what I've done. But New York City was amazing. I did 4:38 first time. I honestly feel like I could have gone faster and I could have done better. It's just that I was my first time racing a marathon and I was kind of really scared of doing anything different. So I treated New York City as like a really long run, essentially like my longest run. And I just took it easy and I enjoyed the crowd. I enjoyed the friends that I stopped by and said hi to, the ones that came out to see and support. Thank you. And it was actually like one of the best days ever. I no injuries, felt great after I ended. I feel like I could keep running a little bit longer if I wanted to, and I'm like that was what I wanted to feel. The next marathon would be Every Woman's in Arizona. Just happened 2025. That one was very different. I think last year, I think after New York City, the whole like post marathon blues that happened, and like you kind of start questioning what you're gonna do next. Do you want to still run? You're kind of sick of training. I'm sure you
Yeah.
understand that. Like you're kind of sick of running a little bit. And you just had like all your training led up to this amazing moment, and then it kind of like happened. And I definitely got into that like kind of like stuck kind of place where I didn't know what to do after New York City marathon. So 2025, I started off like barely running. Actually, on the train here, I was checking my stats, like comparing my stats of like how much I ran every month this year compared to last year. And it's crazy. I've like only ran 11 miles last year in April, only ran 20 miles in like February, like 30 in January. I was not running really. Um, like last month I did a 100-mile month. So I'm just like compared to this year already to last year, it's crazy. But 2025 was really hard for running for me because of just New York City and the post like kind of blues that you feel like I guess. But I wanted to run every women's marathon because I had already wanted to do it the year before that. And then things lined up kind of well because my brother moved to Arizona, and the marathon was in Arizona. And I was like, I told my family, they were like, oh, let's make a trip out of it. We'll go to Arizona to support you. And so I was like having my family was in Florida still, so like getting to see them and spend time with them to me is like amazing. Whenever it gets to happen, so I was like, yeah, like let's do it. If my running can bring everyone together and to go also go visit my brother because he had just recently moved there, I was like, let's do it. So, uh, wasn't as prepared. Again, I wasn't really running. I was kind of just like, oh, muscle memory, like I'll be okay. I'm fit enough to like try to attempt to do it, right? But it was really hard marathon for me. I feel like after 14 miles, I think it was 14 to 16 miles in, I just got really tired. Like the fatigue was crazy. The cramps were happening. I've never really felt like that in a race because I try to prepare myself, but I was feeling it all. The frustration then started to get to me. Then I started walking. I never have ever walked in a race ever before, so I was already feeling kind of like, what am I doing? Like, I don't even want to finish this. Like, who am I? I'm a failure. Like all these like thoughts, like these really negative thoughts were just like starting to like just get in my head. My WhatsApp group from like Circa 95, which is my track club that I run with, running community that I also have uptown. Shout out Ref, shout out Patty. Everyone in the WhatsApp group was also just like, she's at mile this, like she's doing so good. Go Sam, you got this. Like all those messages, like were hard to see too because I was like, wow, like I'm failing them because like I'm not really like running. Like I'm like, this is not gonna be a good time. Like it's gonna be slower than New York City. Like why did I even do it? It was hot. It was so hot. I was like, this is just crazy. But I got through it. Knowing that my family was gonna be waiting at the end, knowing the fact that like even if I had to like run walk and it wasn't my best time, just like my dad met me like I think like the last 3 miles, and he was just like walking consecutively to try to find me and like cheer me on. He gave me a hug at one point, was just like, you got this, just finish, like you're almost there. And then I was like, okay, I just gotta like lock in. I ran the last like 2 miles, thankfully. But it was like not my best time. It was like 5 hours 11 minutes. Like I even have a friend that was just like, oh, is that why you never posted about it? I was like, pretty much. Like I was like, it wasn't something I felt proud about. um However, like I do am really grateful for again like just a community that still supported me and like who don't view times as like a measure of like failure or like what greatness, like kind of just still support me and like were just there for me and like gave me kind words of reassurance that like there's more to come, like that's not the end all be all. And I wouldn't say like if it weren't for that marathon it wouldn't have like given me like the opposite feeling of New York City, where now I'm kind of like I want to come back, like I want to keep running, like I don't want to start off 2026 not running like I did last time. Like I actually want to lock in, like I want the next race that I do that's a marathon to be at better, to be better than New York City time, to be because I did the work and I actually trained this time, you know. So that was a lesson in itself learned. But yeah, I will say, regardless of the time, regardless of not thinking of like the fact that regardless, I ran a marathon at the end of the day, and I finished that marathon and I crossed that finish line regardless of the time that it took me. And I just kind of, you got to learn from that to keep going. So yeah, so hopefully this year I'm thinking about Mexico City. And I
Right
really
there.
want to, and I have some goals.
Right there.
Yeah. And I have some goals for myself, and I'm like excited about it, and I'm really looking forward to putting in the work to make it happen. Uh, so yeah, update on that eventually.
Oof.
Just hearing that, you ran the marathon, I might need some advice, some
Ye-
tips, because just thinking about it, I'm like feeling nervous already.
Yeah.
It's like, for two things, injuries, and two, you're gonna have a lot of crowd, hyping you up, giving them momentum. But let's look back 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even last year. Do you feel like you are at your best version of yourself? Do you feel like you've accomplished certain things that you feel like you could have accomplished years ago, or there's still things that you feel like you could accomplish now? Like, let's talk about that. Like, let's look back 3 years ago and now.
Yeah. Yeah, that I feel like I'm a big like dreamer. I feel like there's a lot of things I've been wanting to do in my life, and as the years go on and we get older, I've been like that question is something I feel like I reflect on a lot. Like what have I accomplished already that I set up for myself like 3 years ago, 2 years ago? And I will say that I've accomplished a lot of the goals that I've had. 3 years ago, I actually, got my master's, which is something that like first in my family, first gen, that also graduated college, first one to get my master's. Those are big dreams of mine. So I'm just like, 3 years ago, I remember getting my master's degree, and that was really great. Um, 3 years ago, I was still, 3 years into New York City, and I feel like I had all these plans of just like getting close to some really good people, making community here, and I've done that. I feel like I've met some of the best people here. My community is growing like every single year here, and it feels more and more like home. And in terms of just like my career, like it's going, every year is adding a year of experience. Especially as educators, like that comes with a lot of like lessons. And like I feel like the more you're in it, the better, the easier it kind of gets. Like I meet all these like first year teachers, and there's just like spiraling and crying. I'm just like, it's okay. Like it gets better. You learn so much more every year. You learn, you gain so much skills as an educator, as a teacher, and all that stuff. So I'm like that. In terms of that, I feel like I'm the best version of myself as an educator. I think also as a runner, 2 years ago, I feel like I was pretty like fit and locked in. It was like my best running version, but I feel like this year, already, I feel like I've been making great gains, and like I could see myself being even better this year than I was 2 years ago. And that's exciting because I just turned 27, and this whole thing of just like, whoa, like you're getting old. Like that's kind of crazy. And I wouldn't say old because like we're not really old, but like it's starting to hit that like we're not that young anymore either. And that's been something that's been really weighing on me because like I think about my younger self a lot, and I'm just like, wow, like what did I want to do at 27? And I do think like I've done a lot already. But there is more. Like I still want to go back to school, and I want to get a PhD eventually. That nerd of part of me still like lives on, for sure. I want to do Mexico City Marathon this year. I want to do sub 4. That's the goal. Um, Very scary, but like that's another thing I want to do. I eventually also want to live somewhere else for a little bit, meet other places, explore. So those are also things that like are ahead of like my play of just like there's other things left to do. And I find myself every day being like, all right, so like we got to start planning for that future. We got to start making moves for that future, and those goals. And the running ones, I think, is so far the easiest ones because I just got to start putting feet to pavement and just move. I feel like that's the easier one. The other ones take a little bit more time, and it's hard to also get uncomfortable. Um, I think that's like the biggest thing for me. I feel like I'm in a place where like I've been doing this for 5 years now, like the same job for 5 years, the same like apartment for five, like pretty much 5 years. And it's kind of just like I want change, but I'm also really scared of the change that could happen. Just because it was really scary when I first moved to New York already. So but I always tell my kids like you have to get uncomfortable for change to happen, right? And so I gotta kind of take my own advice and be like, it's okay to get uncomfortable, because that's how we grow. So yeah, there's still a lot more to do, but I'm very proud of a lot of the things I've already been able to accomplish.
So we know you ran the two-time. You're a two-time marathon. You ran also the 10-mile cherry blossom. We know about that. And also, you're gonna run the CDMX marathon. You have the experience. You're determined. You're knowledgeable. Um, every runner has an inspiration. Someone who inspires them to do a lot of these things. So my question to you is, who inspires you to keep going? Not only in making running journeys, but also in life. Like, who is your biggest motivation?
Yeah, for a fact. That's definitely my mom and my dad. Of course. Even just like thinking about that like gets me a little emotional. No, my mom and my dad definitely my biggest like people that I look to in terms of just like the grit that I need to like survive in this life and to keep going forward. Because they've definitely, immigrant parents like went through a lot. Like my mom literally crossed like the border with pregnant with me just so that I could be here doing this podcast in New York City with my friends. And like to do the life that I want to live, right? So it's just like every day I think about, I'm like, wow, my mom was able to survive and do so much and like make a life for us, right? And definitely an inspiration for me to be able to like be successful and one make her proud and then one day be able to like give back to her so that she knows she can follow her dreams. Which she has. Like also my mom has a beautiful store that she's just opened last year. Yeah, she sells like artesanía from like
Oh,
Mexico.
nice.
And she also does nails, has her like salon. So it's like seeing my mom also be able to make her life and her dreams come true, even though they were much later. Like now she's like older and stuff, like, but she still never gave up on her dreams. And it was like, first was raising us and making sure we were good. And now she's able to kind of give back to herself and make her dreams come true. And I'm like, wow, like she's the epitome of just like, like you gotta never stop doing what you love and like definitely like follow your dreams and like work for them, right, to make them happen. And so she definitely has given me that like that grit to be able to move to a whole new city by myself, for my masters, for the career that I wanted to build for myself, and like not be scared. Like I did that with like knowing that I would be okay because like I'm my mom's like daughter, right? And then my dad is just my superhero. He came into our life, my stepdad, but I call him my dad because that's his like he's a real one. He came into our life when I was like 5 years old, and has just taught me everything about like what it means to like have like just a father who definitely is like you can do the hard things as well. Like yeah, and yeah, sorry, I'm gonna get emotional.
Hold on, we here for you. We here for you.
Yeah, so like he survived stage 3 colon cancer like not too long ago. And he is just not running right now because like his recovery has been kind of like just difficult. But he every single time he's just like, yeah, I can't wait to get like you to run with you again. Like we're gonna make that happen, yada yada. And just like definitely every time that I run, I'm like thankful for him for making those like painting lines everywhere in our neighborhood so that I would know like how much I'm running. Even on the days I would get so upset because I was like, this is so hard. Like I was like, I cannot run a 5K, Dad. I was like, stop thinking that I'm gonna be able to do it. He was like, no, like you're giving up on yourself, and I was like, no, and I would get like so upset with him. But now that I'm older and I think about it, I'm just like, wow, he definitely taught me so much by just pushing me and like telling me that I could do things even when I didn't think I could. Um, and like I do that like every day now too. I'm just like, damn, like I really don't want to run this like 10 mile like long run today, but I'm just like, nah, like I gotta do it because I want to make my dad proud. Like I want to make myself proud. I want to be able to do the hard things and like get out there. And like there's so many people who can't, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like gotta do it for them always. So yeah, I would say my mom and my dad are definitely just like up there in terms of just why I do what I do, why I want to keep doing what I'm like, what I want to keep doing, and yeah, they set the bar pretty high in terms of just being hard workers, like pushing your kids to know like what they can do, like and what's in them. So yeah, those are my inspirations.
No, we love to hear that, and no, thank you for one being vulnerable. We
Yeah.
appreciate you one sharing that because the whole point of this podcast really is to like touch up base on stories, our reason why. Now we know your reason why for running more in depth, like your two motivations. Shout out to your dad for one putting those lines because he had to have run those miles himself to mark those lines for you. So he was doing the work behind the screens to set you up for success. So shout out to him, and also shout out to the Latino community in general, and specifically, where we come from, Mexico. Our parents, right, immigrated to this country, left the whole country,
Yeah.
left home essentially to
Yes.
come here, not only just thinking about like a better life for themselves, but thinking about a better life for us, which is something very inspirational, something that I always take with me every single run that I go. Like I think my parents, like maybe not like mentally there, but like I always like have that in mind. Like, hey, my parents literally sacrificed and did all of this just so I can have the life that I have today. Like just like you, where we're put through college, got our degrees. Now we're teachers in the city that never sleeps, the Big Apple, New York City. So first, once again, we appreciate the fact that you were vulnerable. Um, so, given the fact that you're gonna be running the Mexico City Marathon, or that's the run that you're planning on right now, fingers crossed,
Yeah.
right? I'll probably be running it alongside with you, or
Really?
if not, I'll be supporting you from the stands
Okay.
because I'm also looking into the logistics of like, because allegedly it's like sold out or something, but like,
Oh, really?
there's always, I think so. I don't know. I hope not.
It went quick.
But
I don't know. Hopefully,
I
Damn.
think there's
yeah.
just third parties
Yeah, yeah,
websites
yeah.
that
Hey,
have
I
bids, this
heard
and
Brian
that.
wants to do it too, so.
Oh,
somebody drops out. It could be a possibility.
yeah. So with that being said, given the fact that we're sons of Mexicans, right? How is it gonna feel for you, right? If that happens, right? Well, fingers crossed.
Cross, fingers
To
crossed.
one, run it in our native home country because now the elevation is gonna be scary.
Yeah, I heard.
But how would that feel? How was that going to feel? Doing it back in our natural home, our parents' place of origin, home origin. How is that going to make you feel? How are you going to feel as one being a first generation Mexican American completing that in our home country?
Yeah. I literally think about it all the time. I'm not gonna lie. When I signed up for it, I have been thinking about it since last year, like doing it because I always wanted to run a race in Mexico, right? Like our home, like homeland, right? I've definitely have run in Mexico before, just when I went to go visit like my grandma, my aunts, like my cousins, all that stuff. And it's definitely one of my favorite places to run because I feel like I think about those runs a lot. And they always just felt so good because I was like, wow, like I'm running in my homeland, like, and like it's just different. It just feels different already. If you know, you know, kind of thing. And this year so far was just my training and just building my base and everything on my runs. I think about it a lot. And that question of just like, wow, like I can't wait to feel how it's gonna feel when I'm like actually in Mexico City and I get to run this race. And have like my family there. My family's already going. They already got they're already so hyped about it. My family in Mexico are gonna come too. Like some of the family that I already have there are like, yep, we're gonna be there. So I'm like thinking a lot about how like one, it's gonna feel so beautiful to like run a race where like my family, my extended family, like in Mexico, gets to also come and like see me do the thing that I always am talking about. And in our big family group chats, like all I really contribute to the group chat is just like, I went on this run and whatever, and they're just like, they're like, yeah, Sammy, qué bueno, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah, like I can't wait for them to like finally see me do it. And cheer for me. I feel like that's gonna be beautiful just because I never get to share a lot of moments with them. There's obviously Unifar in Mexico. So getting to share that, something I love with them and them already wanting to come and support is just gonna feel, I feel so beautiful to me. It's gonna make me feel so whole. And being able to then, yeah, just run this race and at home, right? Essentially, I'm not from Mexico City. I'm from Nayarit, if you know. Nayarit's a small town, a small state right above Jalisco, from Tepic, right? And it's beautiful, but very small. It's like 10 hours away from like Mexico City. But regardless, like it's still gonna feel like home. And I am actually so excited to run that like race. And that's why I also have this goal that I want to reach for Mexico City. Like if there's anywhere that I can do it, it's gotta be at home, right? So yeah, every single time I'm kind of like dreading to go on this run or do this training, I keep thinking like you have this goal that you want to complete at home, like in Mexico. So you gotta like do it. Do it for that. Do it for that feeling that you know you're gonna feel when it gets accomplished. Fingers crossed, right? And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's actually something that is keeping me going so far. Of just in terms of like what's to look ahead for is August 30th and like being able to be there with my family at home. And then after that, like we were thinking of going to like the Yucatan and also just spending chilling out by the beach and
Yeah.
stuff with like my family too. And I'm just
Okay.
like, I am really excited. I'm just really excited. I'm really excited. It's gonna be hard. I heard about the elevation. So that's the one thing, but I'm not trying to like let that get in my head or spook me because it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be fine, right?
No, yeah, for sure. And we're gonna be there supporting you. I hope I can be running alongside with you. If not, I'm gonna be there in the stand supporting you. So you let me know with the gels, the
Got you.
electrolytes. I will be there. Dale.
modelos.
The
Oh,
Modelo.
yeah. The modelos too, right? Or Coca-Colas in little bags.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh yeah. So one, yeah. So we'll be there to support you. If not, running alongside with you. How do you do it? Like you're a teacher in a charter school system. How do you do it teaching now juggling with one training for this CDMX marathon? Like how do you balance it? Because I know from experience that it's very tough. Like you mentioned, like I'm in these training blocks and then I'm just coming home and I'm just like, "Oh, I'm tired. I'm beat. I literally had to grade, teach, lesson plan for the next day, pre-think about questions kids might be asking me. It's a lot. And I'm like, damn. But what literally like sets me apart and what keeps me disciplined is like the community that one
Mm-hmm.
holds you accountable, the community that you know that you're doing this not just for yourself, but other people are depending on you to accomplish those dreams because they're so invested. Like you mentioned, your family is very invested in your goals. They're cheering you on those group chats. Like, how do you one balance all of that in the city that never sleeps, with the planning that you have to do, and juggling all that essentially with your personal life? How do you do it? Because it's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, more
Yeah.
insights on that.
It's so hard. You both definitely know that as well, right? two teachers out here and male teachers at that. Shout out to them. That's not it's hard, and we need more male teachers to influence, right? For sure. But it is so hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. To sometimes, yes, leave work at like 4:30. After you've just been, teaching all day, surrounded by kids all day. It's not also just like the planning and all that stuff. Like you also walk away from work with like all of these emotions that the
Yeah.
kids literally
Mm-hmm.
like project on you
Mm-hmm.
24/7. There's kids that are also going through a lot of kids of our own, like, right, like you kind of become emotionally like invested. And sometimes like I've had times where like I'm like in my shower and I'm just thinking about a student that like I know for a fact is going home and it's not good, or like they're gonna struggle with something because like they've shared that, like, and it's like it's a lot of emotional, it's a lot of physical, just like stimulation, and just like, well, the workload is crazy. However, I feel like it's been easier for me to get up and go on a run regardless of that, because it is like just therapeutic. I feel like it actually helps me deal with those things. um Definitely the mental health part is like the biggest thing. I've struggled with mental health like issues in my past, like still struggle with mental health issues now. And I feel like running has definitely given me a lot of balance and just has made me feel better in dealing with those like emotions and those issues and those like things that come up. And so I do it for me, right? I do it for the kids. Like I want to be better for them too. Like I want to be able to come in the next day and welcome them with a smile and have the same energy, because like y'all know me, I'm like very energetic, right? So it's like I feel like running gives me that energy, and it gives me that like kind of just therapy to be able to let go of what that day brought and like go to sleep that night like refreshed. My body
Mm-hmm.
got to move, like let it all out, and now I can like start the next day feeling like better. So I could be better for, again, like the kids that I teach, the families that I like am working with, my staff, like that I'm around all day, my coworkers, right? Like they deserve the best version of me. And I deserve like the best version of myself as well. So I feel like running definitely brings that forward. And I feel like I'm just so passionate about it. Like, again, I feel like I've never loved running the way that I love it right now. And I've loved running for a long time now, but like this year, just even now, just I think the love is just bigger than it ever was. The passion has just grown, right? And I feel like there's a lot of my coworkers, right, that I talk about this a lot with, because a lot of them, they always tell me, they're like, how do you do it? Like, how do you, like, because they'll follow me on Instagram and they'll be like, oh, I see that you run like 6 miles like every day. Like, what, how are you doing that? Like after work, all I can do is just go home and go to sleep, right? Like, they're, because we're washed, we're exhausted. It's a
Mm-hmm.
hard ass job.
Yeah.
And I literally tell them sometimes, like, I really don't know how I do it. I just know that I have to do it. Like, it's something that, like, I want to do and I feel like I need to do, again, just to be better. And then just the love of it is just so big, and like I'm just so passionate about it. It also brings me my friends. Like it's like a whole different world. Like I feel like I have
Mm-hmm.
my work, and then after work it's like I have this other life that I get to now do, and it's like the running life that I have, and the running friends that I get to see, and like the people I get to interact with. Sometimes I even go to freaking Brooklyn, or Queens, right? And if you know me, it's far. I'm probably like the one who lives the farthest away from everybody. And I make it out there because like I'm excited to run with y'all, to like talk to you guys about, how was your day, like how, why are we here, right? Like what are, I don't know how to describe it, like, but it just feels like it's just this other life that is waiting for me right after my teaching life is done. And it adds to everything and it makes things better. And sometimes I don't even talk that much. Sometimes I even just do need to go on like my little solo run too and put the headphones in and just let it all out. But I do know that like it's just feels like something I have to do. And it's like a part of me at this point. It's like autopilot too. Um it's not even sometimes something I think twice about. It's just like, all right, like time to go home and start changing the outfit and getting my stuff together so I can go run. Um, and it just makes me happy and it brings me a lot of joy. And I feel I was gonna say something else and I forgot. But yeah, essentially it just brings me a lot of joy. It's really great. It's really fun. And I am still young and I still have all this energy to give. And I feel like I'm going to just use it till I can't and run until I can't anymore. And so yeah, gotta make it. Oh yeah, sometimes I don't though. Sometimes I do get home and I'm like, wow, today was really, really hard. And I actually just want to take a nap and go to sleep early. And I do that. And it's also important to know like yourself
Yeah.
and to sometimes know like if I run right now, is it actually going to make me better or is it going to make me feel worse? And
Hmm.
sometimes it can have the latter effect. Like sometimes it might make you feel worse to go on a run because you're already so exhausted like your body just can't do it. So you got to know yourself and like I'm definitely not disappointed in the days that I take that I'm just like I'm not running today and that's okay. And that's something I feel like before was hard for me to say, but like now it's kind of like, no, it's okay. Like you will survive. You don't run 1 or 2 days, and sleep instead, right? Because that's also just as important. So, yeah. So just knowing myself and like treating myself and doing what I know is gonna make me better, um, really helps like juggle all of the stressors
Yeah.
and yeah, that come with teaching.
You know, speaking of joy, I know
Yeah.
you also hosted a women's international run alongside three other runners. Talk to us, like, how are you feeling about, that day? Like, is it first time hosting that run or run in general?
Yes, it was my first time hosting an event. Yes.
So tell us about, like, how'd you feel about it? First time hosting it. What was going through your mind, emotions, feelings?
Yeah, that was honestly one of the best so far. One of my core memories of 2026 so far. So these three friends, Myra and Evelyn, two of them I've met in October, like late October. And they've literally, if you know me or like you know anything about me, you probably see me with them all the time. We are like the three little triplets at this point. They become one of my closest friends, which again is so crazy how running can bring people together. Would never have met them if Funny story. Evelyn hosted this like Latina 5K. I met her at that Latina 5K. We got it chatting. I told her that I was running the Every Woman's Marathon in Arizona. She was like, "Wait, I know someone who's running that same marathon. Her name is Myra." She was like, "I was actually gonna go on a 9 mile run tomorrow with her. You should come. Like y'all have this in common. Like y'all, you kind of just can meet." And I was like, "Sure." Like I need to do a long run anyway, so it was like that sounds great. So we got together the next day, literally the next day, and we went on a 9 mile run. And ever since then, like we've literally been just running together. And the idea came up to Evelyn and Myra had an idea with Kathleen, the other one who hosted the event with us, who's lovely. Just met her through that run and that hosting experience, and she's great. Runs as well. And they were just like, hey, for Women's Month, we want to do something. We want to do like an only women running to celebrate, how we can take up space as especially as women, as Latinas. It wasn't really just for Latinas, but having like four Latinas do it was just
Hmm.
added a greater like kind of mission to it. But just to celebrate, women and like running in the running space and just like, if you are like a woman who runs, like you understand that sometimes it's like a lot to run with just like all the male egos, right?
Yeah.
And just the male energy, kids are great, but like it's a lot sometimes. So to be able to celebrate, the ones that do show up and are not intimidated and like do it for them and whatnot. So we decided to host it, and like we had like about 200 people who showed up, and that was amazing. It was like one of the best times. Sorry. And that was like one of the best times just seeing all these girls in like pink and like white and red and just like coming together. There's like moms out there who brought like their daughters, like like with moms that are like my mom's age. And I was just like, this is just so cute. And like this is we had like maybe 3 to 6 people who never ran before who came out. And we were able to like give them flowers, gave them like makeup. Maybelline like helped sponsor some things. It was just a phenomenal day of like women being so cute and like running and supporting each other and being badasses. And it was a hit and it was a success. And we had so many people who were just like, we need you guys to do another event. Like, y'all need to host another event. And we've been talking about it. We have some ideas, like maybe for the future, because we did see how it was so beautiful and how people came together. And it was just very successful. Will say hosting is not easy. There's also a lot
Hmm.
of stress behind it of
Yeah.
like, gathering sponsorships if you want to get something sponsored, to give, like, giveaways, because that's important, and to give people back. The people who came out for the content, who like photographed the event, like shout out to you guys, like they were so helpful. Getting people to volunteer. We had volunteers for pacing. We had volunteers for like check-in. Um, Getting the space, right? Lovely space, Casa de las Flores, like beautiful area. My friend Stephanie actually hosted a run today from there as well, for like a shakeout for Maybelline. And I saw some pictures already and it looked beautiful as well. And it was an only women event. So love it to see like that kind of just space being taken up. Um, I think more events that are women only and are also for like supporting like, women in space, in like the movement space, and like as athletes, um, is really important. So love to see that. Love to see other people doing it. I love doing this event. It was actually one of the best days. After it all, like after it all ended too, like we went out to like celebrate for dinner and stuff, and it was just like wow, like we all looked back at it and we all got like a little emotional. My mom actually texted me and she was like, I saw your event, I'm so proud of you, and she sent me all this stuff, and I literally started bawling at like the like our little breakfast, our little dinner table, and I was just like wow, like I didn't mean to cry, guys, and they were just like no, it's okay. But I'm like, I was so proud of myself, I was proud of them, and everyone who showed up and supported the event. Yeah, that was cool. If more in the future, though, I really want to get into this whole like hosting events
Hmm.
kind of space for sure. And so I look forward to that, and I can't wait for more opportunities like that.
We'd love to hear that. And like on behalf of Bianca's, I think we feel the same way towards you. You're a great inspiration, right? Because one, I think you inspire a lot of people to run without you even realizing. So we one saw the success behind that women's all women's 5K in a celebration of Women's History Month. We saw the turnout. We saw how you guys. First of all, the thing about you, Evelyn and Myra, is that you guys lead with fidelity. You're very humble people,
Transparent.
transparent. The way how you organize it, this and that, it was one very like wow, like you guys are one being leaders in a space that is, I guess, running could be a little bit more male dominant, but you guys are showing up and you're attracting people of all different walks and lives who, like you mentioned, never ran but came to that event because they trusted you. Three and saw and the other organizer and saw how you guys led that race. I mean that 5K with fidelity. So it was one a honor to see from social media because we
Oh,
were like,
thanks, guys.
wow, that was something very inspirational. We are one. We can't wait for you to lead more races. Please let us know so we can like support with like the social media bandwidth,
Repost it.
reposting it because we
Yeah.
would love to see that because running is a art in itself. It is therapeutic, right? Before we close, I really want to touch base on this because you mentioned something very important, which is therapy. Like, what made you want to seek therapy? And then, like, why should the viewers out there who might be struggling with like something in their life, it could be of anything really, like why should they seek therapy and how important it is, especially in the Latino community, and especially, like it's the therapy is something that we're like very hesitant, like we're like, oh, therapy, I don't know about that, I don't know if I can trust this person, I don't know if I can put myself out there. Like, what is your message to the viewers when it comes to therapy?
Yeah. Big supporter of mental health for sure. Also, thank you so much for the kind words, guys. You guys are the best. Yeah, mental health so important. Mental health matters so much. You definitely never know what anyone is struggling with. I feel like being a teacher has kind of really made me like kind of see mental health and like things like that a lot differently. Just because a lot of my kids struggle with it, especially in middle school. Like we see a lot of like kids who are struggling in high school, right? Middle school, high school, like there's a lot, right? And like you see how it starts so early, right? It starts
Hmm.
so early to affect people because of like the society that we live in, the world that we live in. And there is so much stigma around it, especially in like the Latin community. I'd say like I started realizing that I was struggling with mental health issues like when I was in middle school. So that to me is like a big like just kind of where I reference a lot of with my students. Like I'm like, oh wow, like I see myself in them a lot in terms of just like the ones who are struggling. I'm like, yeah, like I get it, like the world is not a kind place most of the time. And I mean it is what you make out of it, right? But like it's pretty hard. There's a lot of things that we're always struggling with. There's a lot of things on the news all the time. There's like wars going on, right? Genocides happening like every day like that. It's just like we become so desensitized to a lot of things, but like because it's so hard, right? And I feel like it's so important to check in on like your community, check in on your people, to talk about it, right? Because if we don't talk about it, we're kind of just contributing to like the fact that it's not talked about
Yeah.
often. And it's important because you never know what someone could be going through. And sometimes all they might need is you to just ask them like how they are and like genuinely like mean it, right? Like how are you feeling? Like is everything okay? Especially if you notice anything. I think when I just growing up, like it was really hard for me because like my parents didn't even really think it was like real. Like it was just like, oh, like you're just like a kid, like or you're being dramatic, like but I knew in myself, it was like, I don't feel the same way that other people feel because I see people all the time so happy. And which also might be funny because I feel like I come off as a very happy, like giggly girl. And just like person in general, like I feel like I have a lot of energy and I'm always just like smiling and, and chatting up and stuff. But like sometimes it's also the people who are like that who are also like going through a lot. Like again, you just never know. You literally never know what anyone might be going through. So as just growing up, I went when I eventually got to college, I started to really realize that I was kind of heading down like a wrong path in terms of just like mental health. Like I wasn't really taking care of myself. I was seeking other things to like fulfill myself with to bring joy. Like, but those things were like really just like in the moment and like fast lived and like um that's when I kind of started to like realize like I need to do better. I've always journaled. Journaling is like a big part of it. Journaling helps me a lot to like just get the feelings out because like they always I just feel like there's so many thoughts in my head all the time and so many emotions and feelings that like putting them on paper kind of helps me kind of like let them go. Um, and then I was blessed with my job right when I came here. Um, at like the age of 22 and they have like therapy and like our health insurance and it was like free therapy and stuff. So I started doing therapy finally after college. And that's when I feel like I saw how it helped, right? I was able to talk to someone about what I'm going through and they were able to validate the fact that like yeah, like you're not crazy, like it's not real, like you are going through a lot of things, like these are the ways that you can help yourself, right? um I got prescribed like medication, all these things. But a lot of the time, like my own research too, I knew running is like something that works even sometimes better than a lot of like antidepressants and things like that. So running also just became like part of that, right? So like, and my therapist told me like with therapy and medication and like you're running, like you're gonna be feeling better. And like I did, I felt better. I saw a notable change in just like my own mindset. I started practicing more of like just like mindset things. Like literally every single day at work, I have this little like affirmation like calendar, and it's like my one of my yeah my best coworkers. Me and her like every day. She's like, okay, what's the affirmation for your day? And, like we read it to each other. My kids come and like they even check it. So there's like little things like that. I was just like starting the day with like gratitude, like starting the day with like just mindfulness. Throughout the day, practicing that as best as you can. Talking to people about it. Like again, thankful for Myra and Evelyn. Like we literally get mushy all the time on like our chat, and we're just like they're so supportive. There's just like it's like a safe space for us to vent about things that we're feeling, and then to feel supported by like a group of people, not just them, like other people like that I have, that I can lean on, that I can talk about things with. My little sister and we talk a lot about it a lot too. Like she struggles with things, and like we talk about how it was hard growing up with like our family and feeling these things because we both never really felt supported, but like now we're able to support each other in our journeys of like like how we're dealing with it, in terms of seeing a therapist, in terms of our medication that we're taking, and just like not make it like a taboo topic, like like it's not. I don't feel any type of way telling you guys that like I
Yeah.
am take medication for like depression and things like that because like it's real. It's
Hmm.
people are struggling with it all the time, and like when we stop like making it feel like it's like a wow, like that person does like feels that way, like that person is diagnosed with this, like that person takes this medication, like it's okay, like and we need to stop having those kind of narratives and like thoughts around people who are like struggling, because those are the people who will probably who need like the opposite, who need more support, who need people to be like, that's okay, like, hey, that's valid, like, check in on them, right? Check in on everyone. I think if you're feeling any type of way, if you feel like, loss of motivation, loss of just like energy, all these things are like signs like to one, like check in on yourself, go check it out. It might not be for you, but like it's okay if like therapy doesn't work out. Like find someone that you can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Find other ways to like again like talk about things, like even if it's starting off just journaling to yourself. But yeah, like try running. Try any kind of form of movement also is so helpful, like yoga, meditation, all those things, right? But definitely let's definitely talk about it
Yeah.
much more. I know next month is like mental health awareness
Yeah.
month, so it's like even now coming up with like a whole month dedicated to it, like let's
Yeah.
talk about it more, right? Let's
For
like
sure.
sit down at the table with your family, even especially if you have Latin parents. My mom, I know for a fact, struggles with a lot of mental health issues, but because of how she was raised and her culture, she doesn't even believe it herself, right?
Yeah.
So me and my sister are like, we always feel like they're therapists. Like we're just like, so how are you feeling, mom? Why do you think you feel that way? Oh, do you think it's connected to like this thing? And then she's just like, whoa, and she'll get emotional, and like you see it working, but it's like, that's why it's so important to be able to like, research it, learn about it, become aware about it. Don't be ignorant when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to those topics. And bring them up, right? Bring them up to your friends, like, because yeah, I feel like at this point everyone needs therapy, low key. It's just the place that we live
Yeah,
in, this
for sure.
world. So
I feel like mental health is always, something important when it comes to whether completing goals or, living your lifestyle the way you want to. I can relate to journaling too, because I feel like at one point I was like, they told me to write stuff on paper, and I was like, is it really gonna help? I was overthinking so much. I was like, why would I write things down when I could speak to somebody about it?
mhm.
And when I wrote it down, it actually worked. I was like, feel like I was talking to myself to the paper.
Yes.
So it was like I was writing stuff down, and little did I know I was actually taking my emotions out through a paper. You know, but I feel like yeah, everything is all mental. I feel like if your mindset is strong,
My
you know,
strong.
your mindset is strong, you can do anything in life. So we always tell all of our guests something called a dollar message, brought to
Brought
you
to you by
by
Ray's Deli.
right Reyes Deli. So Sam, what's one quote, advice, or a positive message that you want to give out to the viewers?
Yeah, I think something that this year has been getting me through this like message I keep telling myself is just never stop doing what you love. Um, and I say that to myself like every day, right? Like never stop doing what you love. And that's my daily message for sure, for y'all to never stop doing what you love. Um, Even if you can't do it all the time, right? Never stop. And never stop following like your passions, right? Your passions actually follow you. You don't follow your passion. So like if you're thinking about it and you're doing the things, like they're gonna come to you. And just yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy the ride for sure.
So we love to hear that. And before we conclude, we just want to say once again, thank you for one joining the podcast and being with us. Thank you for one being vulnerable, being your true and authentic self, because we need more strong, powerful women like you who is vulnerable, right? Someone who is one sought the help, uses running as a therapy, leads 5Ks and future 5Ks or future events with your two friends, Myra and Evelyn. Shout out to both of you guys. You guys are more powerful than you know, and we appreciate you and Sam here for creating these events, right? So we want to say thank you once again. You're an amazing person, amazing leader, an amazing educator, and you're doing it all in the city that never sleeps. So we want to give you the praise and the shine and the honor that you deserve, because we need more powerful women like you.
Oh my
So
God, you're so sweet.
thank you for that. Brianka, I don't know anything you want to say, my brother.
Yeah, I mean, when I met you, I was like, who is Sam? Like first time I see her at Paso, I was like, who are you? But when I got to know you, you're very sweet. You're hardworking. I never knew you were a teacher, but think about it, a three teacher podcast right here.
Oh, teacher, shout out.
Yeah,
Educators.
right. So all I could say is I'm proud of you. I
Thank
wish
you.
you all the best of luck. In the CDMX marathon. We know who you're gonna do this for. And all I could say is, I wish we could have more races together down the line. You pacing me, having more advice, tips, on like what I could do to be better, But like Oscar said, we need more women out there to be leaders. You, Myra, Evelyn, such a great team. We love to see more runs out there, so you can repost, share, and just show your support that you deserve.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. Also, this has been so great. Shout out to them. Come sign up on their Google form to be a member. It's great to talk about these things. Like storytelling, brings community and empowers us all.
And
So
lastly, thank you for saying hi. Thank you for saying hi. Thank you for one giving me a little bit of like cheer me up past post marathon. You were very kind, like Branca just mentioned. Thank you for saying hi because if it wasn't for that hi, this would have never happened today.
Right.
So you are more powerful than you know. So we appreciate you.
oh,
All
thanks
right,
guys.
Dale. Whew. Oh, that was a good one.